I've been wanting to do a little video on the state of the lane for ages, so I've brought the 360 camera out today and I'm going to walk the length of the lane. I'm going to stick to the public right of way. There are lots of people on the group who can't get down here. You live far away, you live in Australia, you live in New Zealand, and you probably want to know what it's like. So not too much fly tipping, not too bad. For anyone who's new to the group as well, this was a lane that led down to 2 mills. There were originally a couple of mill ponds, a couple of mills down here. The Crooked House itself was originally a mill that then subsided. After it became a mill, after a mill it then became a pub, the Siddon House, and that's it. It managed to stay so stable because of the construction of its cellars. There's an excellent article posted somewhere on the group about this. But this whole area started off originally as rural farmland and then was transformed really by the Earl of Dudley, because the Pensnet Railway used to pass through here. So we're just coming down the lane now. There's lots of litter, lots of rubbish. That is one of the problems with this lane, is that it's always had a bit of an issue with rubbish, litter, fly tipping. Obviously there's 2 landfills either side. So as we walk down the lane now, we're coming up to the first railway abutment. So there is a footpath here and a little diversion. I've just got to get out of the way because there's some people from Severn Trent passing through. So you can come down here. This is a public right of way. There is a footpath diversion there because you cannot get across the other side. So if you are going to have a walk down and see what the state of everything is like, then you really need to stick to the footpath. Simple as that. Underneath the old Pensnet Railway bridge abutments. Here we go. So midway down the lane is now the concrete pad. To the left of me is Imlay Environmental's landfill. Over that way, on the right hand side, is the Biffa landfill with the gas plant. Over there are the containers. Inside the containers are 25,000 of the Crooked House bricks, all nice and safe and secure and locked up. You can't go onto the concrete pad. The concrete pad isn't part of the public footpath, sorry. So you need to stay, if you're going to walk down here, on this side of the public right of way. It is really wet. It is really messy. I'm just going to swoop under. Now the brook is running pretty fast, pretty high today. So there's a bit of an issue down here where the brook has swept some of the footpath away. There's a lot of surface water and these leaves make it incredibly slippy down here, so just be really careful. So you should be able to see here, I don't know how clearly because of the lighting conditions, you should be able to see where the embankment, the bit holding the bank back, the pilings has fell over. This has forced the brook to undercut the footpath. Now I can't see the level now to which that's been undercut. That race is going really pretty fast, and as it's been stopped there, it's going right underneath. So you know it is barriered off. I wouldn't advise anybody coming any farther than this point, if I'm absolutely honest, because we don't quite know how far that has gone underneath. It's definitely undercut because you can see it, so do not cross these barriers, do not get onto that really thin bit of tarmac because you will go down, but you can see where the land has slipped on that side, and as it's just basically slipped down. The current has undercut the piles and it's just forced its way down. So I wouldn't advise anyone to necessarily, just don't go on that little bit. So you're going to come down here and use the public right of way. Lots of people do to walk their dogs. It's still open, although it has been reported to the authorities, the condition, so perhaps it will be closed But as you can see, and I've got a long selfie stick here so I can look over, it is particularly perilous. It's fairly flash flowing and it has just undercut the path away. The other side is starting to move as well, so the whole lot is starting to shift gradually. So we pass another little bit of the old Pensnet Railway. There is a modern bridge across the top of it, the access to Himley Environmental. But the original buttresses are still here, although deteriorating now. Originally this line was meant to carry minerals. So it says up there, Coppice Mill Bridge, Baggeridge Brick Lane, 1991. So the new bridge went in 1991, above the old bridge abutments. So for any of you vaguely interested, Earl of Dudley had Round Oak Steelworks, Baggeridge Brick, built the Pensnet Railway, which linked up with the GWR. Massive interests. Used to live in Himley Hall, but then moved because it was too close to all of his business enterprises. So once you pass that bit, it's fairly peaceful. We're still on the public right-of-way that follows the old lane all the way down. We've just had a storm, so I don't know what's going to be down here. See a couple of fallen trees, but it is pretty muddy. Somebody's been down here, definitely with a dog. Little doggy four prints. So yeah, to the right of me, a long time ago, there would have been a couple of mill ponds. There were two mills down here originally, and there would have been a couple of mill ponds that side. Oh, there we go. This has obviously come down in the storm. A tree up there. You can see further pilings up there holding the land back. You can see that that dead tree has started to come down as well. So yeah, there were two mills down here originally. This brook, the name of it escapes me now, eventually feeds into the Stour, then eventually into the Severn. And this is it. Very wet, lots and lots of water. And this is about as far as you can go, so you can see into the distance the footprint of the Crooked House. The footpath exclusion or the footpath prohibition starts where these fences are trampled down, so we won't be going through that today because that site is dangerous. As you've seen on some of the drone flights that I do from here and some of the other videos that I've taken, cellars are collapsing, some of the masonry is starting to come down. The winter will further deteriorate this structure and it will become increasingly dangerous. Obviously, someone for whatever reason has took these fences down or someone's forced their way through. You know, people are interested and slightly intrigued. Oh, pheasant, how exciting. But this is where you should stop. This is the end of the footpath and then you can't go any further, or you shouldn't go any further. The group doesn't advise that you go any further either. So for all of the debate on, you know, oh, you can't tell anyone what to do, well, it's the health and safety executive that deem that this is dangerous. And if they've deemed it's dangerous, which is why the remedial works were done in the first place, and Putnams have fenced around the inner ruin, and they've put an outer fence up, then I think it's fairly safe to say they do not want people on this site trampling around. It's got nothing to do with hiding anything or what don't they want you to see.